Hi, Katie.
Hi.
So we're here for all of you joining us from Networking Nutritionists. We're here tonight with Katie Pangborn. She is a nutritionist and a marketer. So she's going to be talking to us more on the marketing side of things tonight. Do you mind if I share how we know each other, Katie?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so we originally met, what would that be? Maybe 4 years ago?
2018,
Yeah.
2019. Yeah, I had a little baby.
Yeah. So 4 years ago or so, Katie and I met each other working at a nonprofit in the natural health space. So she was doing a lot of the communications work and writing for us, and I was doing more of the operations and rolling things out and campaigns. So we made a good team there, and I'm excited to get to chat with her today. And Katie, to have you share all of the good stuff that you know with our members here.
Absolutely.
So we've got a few people trickling in. Are you able to start with telling us what inspired you to become a nutritionist, and then also what keeps drawing you back into marketing as a profession?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've always been a writer. That's just something that's always come naturally to me. Went to university for communications and writing and all the things, and did an internship in a nonprofit around mental health. Loved it. Was writing for them. Ended up getting a job out of university at a different mental health nonprofit. And again, just loved it. I loved the kind of work we were doing, but I was also seeing day to day, like the social workers and the therapists and the child and youth workers, or the people who are on the ground working with these. It was youth that we were working with, and I kind of got a buzz for like I wonder what it would be like to be on the front line of something, like to have that more one-to-one experience. And I was leading some programs there that just were more around culture, like making sure that the children in the group home felt like they were being heard and all of this. And yeah, so I enrolled in nutrition school. At the time, I was also dealing with some of my own health issues. I was a really, really bad vegan. Just had no idea what I was doing. Just bought everything in the grocery store that said vegan on it. Was just not a healthy person, and started working in the naturopath, yada, yada. We've all got the story. And yeah, became a nutritionist, worked in high performance fitness, worked at a herbal clinic, worked for myself for a while. But ultimately 2020 happened, and I was home with my son, and the ability, you can probably hear him being put to bed right now, the ability to have the one-on-one coaching calls was just getting so stressful, to try to figure out like the timing and having my son home. And it was a lot. It was a lot to do. And I just wasn't feeling the fire anymore. So I took a break, and then I had a reputation as a copywriter in the nutrition industry, you know, working with the organization we worked with, and doing my own marketing, which is my favorite part of my nutrition business. And so clients just happened. I worked my butt off as a nutritionist to try to make things work, and marketing just happened, and it's where I'm supposed to be. It's what I love to do. And yeah, so it's snowballed from there. Now we're a team of 8 at Talking True Communications, and we do lead generation and launch campaigns, social media, email marketing, all the things, course creation, specifically for nutritionists, because we speak the language. So
That's amazing.
in a long nutshell.
I love how you said too how clients just happened, that they just came to you. And I constantly find it so fascinating how when you just find your place, that seems to happen. And it doesn't matter who you are or what your niche is, but when you find that place where you just fit, it does seem that everything just kind of comes together, right?
Yeah, it absolutely does. And it's been really cool. And like I said, it's been a unique service that we've been able to offer because we speak the language. I have another copywriter on my team who's also a nutritionist, and you know, we speak a language that nutritionists and naturopaths and mental health pros, like those are mostly our clients, and they don't have to explain things to us. They can say like, we want to post about this, and we know what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's often a big hurdle. for folks in the natural health industry trying to work with any type of communications team or marketing agencies, because there is that really specific language, right, that needs to be used. So I love that you've been able to build out this amazing business, serving both types of your community. I think that's so wonderful. So today we're going to be talking about social media, about email marketing, a little bit of lead generation. I see there's a few more of us on the call now, so just a heads up as well. Towards the end of the call, we will allow for Q&A as well. So if there's things as we're talking that you want to ask, just throw them up into the Q&A and we'll come back around to those towards the end of the call as well. So I guess starting off with some social media, for networking nutritionists specifically, it's maybe a little bit of a hot topic because we made the decision to move off of the mainstream social media. And I know a lot in the natural health industry are feeling frustrated with those platforms and the hurdles that are being put in place. So is there any strategy, any kind of effective way that you would recommend that people engage in social media that isn't so salesy, that would feel really authentic?
Well, I think my first piece of advice would be to not try to sell on social. You know, it used to work. I'll say that as a caveat. It used to work. Social media has changed a lot. Pandemic or no pandemic, things have just changed with the way social media works. It used to be pretty standard that as a nutritionist, you'd have a Facebook group and that was kind of this exclusive space for your people. Now, as you probably know, if you have a Facebook group and somebody posts in it, nobody sees it. Like the reach is just zero. I don't know how they're getting away with that, but they are. There's been more of a push towards paid ads. So, you know, it's a pay to play situation. You want to have some consistent visibility. You do have to pay for it. I have walked away for the most part from Facebook. We do some like copy posts to Facebook, but mostly our clients are on Instagram. And I like using Instagram. It is, again, it's not the same as it was. You can't compare it to the way it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, because you're going to have, I've had clients where like they come to me with 15,000 followers, and that's a vanity metric because you look at that and say, oh, wow, they must be really popular. They must, like, everybody must be reading their posts. Everybody must know them. And then you look behind the scenes and they're getting like maybe 100 views on their post, maybe 50 views on their story. Like it's just really, really low across the board. So number one thing in terms of how to use social media is I always talk about use social media to get people off social media. So use social media to get to know people, to network, to be yourself, to show up, to tell your stories, to connect, and then use that link in your bio to give people something that gets them onto your email list. So a lead magnet, some kind of a free offer, high value, quick win for them. That's going to get them onto your email list where you have consent to sell to them. When you're on social media, if you're posting on social media trying to sell your offer, in this climate, it's probably not going to work unless you have a ton of really engaged followers. It's probably not going to sell your product.
Would you say is that kind of the number one mistake that you see nutritionists making on social media, is trying to sell there, or are there other mistakes that are being made as well?
No, I mean, I don't know if I'd call them mistakes, but people tend to go 0 to 100, right? Like it's either they're not mentioning their offers and nobody even knows that they have a practice, or all they do is sell. And we need to find something in between. So what we always say to our clients is, look, we're going to provide a marketing backbone for you. So we're going to do our 3 posts a week where we're going to talk about your lead magnet, we're going to mention your offer, and we're going to do something that's really engaging and educational, it's helpful for the client or for the audience. And then in between that, you should show up on Instagram stories. You should talk about as a nutritionist, talk about your meals, talk about your clients. The best engagement we get is when somebody hops on stories. I hate to say hops on because I know it's so cliche, but they hop on after a client session and they're full of that energy and they go, I just had this great call with a client and we talked about this. And here's what I said, bam. And it's like a 2 or 3 slide story, really quick, not 20 slides, 2 or 3. Get it out there, use captions, and tell people what you do. That's a great way to use your Instagram. Mistakes that people are making, captions is a big one. Not putting captions in your stories is, you'll lose most of your audience. 90% of users on Instagram are using it without sound.
Interesting. I did not know that.
It's all, I'm telling you, it's all the moms who are like hiding from their kids. It's people in the bathroom. It's people doom scrolling first thing in the morning or last thing at night. Or they're at work or they're on the subway or whatever, but most videos are being watched without sound. So make sure those captions are there, whether you're auto-generating them or creating your own. That's a big one. People will just skip your entire story if there's no captions.
It's a good little tidbit. That's something easy that people can take away and apply right away.
Mm-hmm. I think the other thing is just not showing their faces though. If you're constantly posting like pictures of your food or branding photos and not actually showing up and talking, when we're talking about coaching for nutritionists, you're developing a relationship with people and you can't do it. Like if you're an online coach, you're not doing that in person. You're not getting all that, hormonal, visual, auditory exchange. So you need to make it up in stories. So one of the big things I always say to my clients is when you're looking at your phone, you're doing your story, don't look at yourself, look at the camera. Because when your audience is watching the story, if you're looking at the camera, you're looking into their eyes.
Yeah.
This isn't a sleazy marketing tactic. This is about creating that authenticity. And now that I've said it, you'll probably start to notice the people who talk to themselves and who talk to you. It makes a big difference for that connection.
Yeah, that makes sense. You started to touch on the next question that I had for you in talking about putting that link in your Instagram bio, bringing them over to your email list. So that seeming movement away from social media to more direct email marketing, is that something that you've noticed a lot in your work? I know you're doing that. Are other people doing that as well on their own, or do they really need to be kind of cajoled to make that move and accept this as the new way to do marketing?
I'll tell you, I don't think I've had to convince anybody of the value, but I have to convince people of the commitment. Because it's a lot of work to create a lead magnet and launch it well, and then continue to nurture your email list that you create from that. It's a lot of work. We do it for you, that's what we do. But when you create a lead magnet, you have your PDF document, or you have your download, or your webinar, or your quiz, whatever you choose to do. And it's not just that. People kind of stop at that. That lead magnet should also have a really detailed opt-in page that tells people who you are and what you do. It should have we usually do a 6 email opt-in sequence that kind of onboards people into your vision and into your practice and gives them some more free resources and builds that know, like, trust factor. We run Facebook and Instagram ads that promote your lead magnet, because again, like, a lot of people are using Facebook ads to promote their offer, but if nobody knows who you are, it's not a great way to spend your money versus, again, having that quick solving of a problem for them, give them a quick win. They'll buy that from anybody, or they'll download that from anybody, because the risk is very low. And then you use your email sequence to onboard them and kind of help them into your vision, and then they're on your email list. So then you're sending out your weekly nurture emails, which are nurture emails. They're not sales emails. right? Here's a story from my life. Here's something that happened this week. P.S. If you want to work with me, here's how you can do it. But these are not sales emails.
It's an important distinction.
It's big, yeah. So it is a commitment for people to recognize that they need to be sending emails. People are very self-conscious about sending emails. They don't believe in the value of it, but research has shown every dollar you invest in your email, building your email list, which, I would say those dollars are spent on Facebook and Instagram ads. Mm-hmm. Every dollar you spend on your email list generates $42.
Wow.
So it is, and on Instagram, it's like pennies. So it's not, you're getting more bang for your buck when you're doing emails. And then when you do have an offer to launch, whether it's a course or a one-on-one or a group coaching or whatever you're doing, you have this new bucket of people to market to. Big mistake that people are making is they launch their offer and then they wait, and then they launch their offer again, and then they wait and they launch their offer again, and they expect people to buy it each time. But until you fill up that bucket each time, you're just launching to the same people who didn't buy last time.
Right.
So we have to continually fill this bucket, fill the funnel up so that you have some real potential.
So I know you mentioned the lead magnet of some kind, enticing people to join a mailing list. Do you have any tips about that? What types of things would you include that would motivate people to join your email list?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So it used to be, again, 3-5 years ago, it used to be you did a webinar and then, or you did a mini course. Those have just, the engagement on those has gone so far down over the last couple of years. My understanding of it is that we're all spending so much time on the computer these days. We don't want to spend extra time. I don't want to sit for an hour. But also, same reason that people aren't buying your offer right off Instagram stories. I don't want to spend my money on somebody I don't know, but I also don't want to spend my time. Even if I have the money, our hours are precious. So do I want to commit to an hour webinar that I know is going to have a sales pitch at the end by someone that I don't know if they're any good? Versus, can I download this thing, scroll through it really quickly, decide for myself if this is worth it, and then, okay, now when she sends me an email, I'm going to be paying attention. So PDFs and quizzes are performing really, really, really well. Quizzes especially. I think we all want to know something about ourselves. We've done a couple quizzes, like trying to think of people that would be known in the community, like Stephanie Long, Rachel Melenda, Ashley Norris from Soulful Sprout. We've done quizzes for, Stephanie wasn't a quiz, she was a PDF, but the other two were quizzes. Maya Eid, she's Maya Nutrition on Instagram. So we've worked with her. We did a PDF download for her that's going off like gangbusters. So we're seeing a lot more action with those than with the lead magnets that require a little bit more investment of time.
Okay. I guess that kind of leads into my next question for you anyhow. What are some of those best practices for using direct email marketing? Like, how often do people want to hear from you? What types of content need to go in emails? Is there anything you could share about that?
Mm-hmm. I like once a week. I'm not afraid of twice a week. I would stay away from the newsletter style. If you're sending a newsletter, maybe once a month. But really what people are responding to mostly right now in inboxes is stories. We want connection, right? We've all been divided for so long. We just want connection. So the emails that are performing really well are the ones that introduce a little bit of a story, a little peek behind the curtain, and then something really helpful, like something that is, whether for nutritionists, it can be like, here's a recipe I made this week. People love recipes, right? Like, this is not news for any of you. Being able to provide a recipe, if you're using Vaccine Life or a meal planning software, you just download a recipe and throw it into your email. It's easy and it's huge value. And your open rates will go nuts if you put plus recipe in your subject line. So yeah, once or twice a week. And the main thing is show up respectfully, right? Don't show up just because it's Tuesday and you send out emails on Tuesday. Show up because you have something to say, and really think about what the audience needs to hear more so than what you want to say. So we always advise, like, speak in the audience's voice, not your own. So really think, like, what words do they need to hear? What's happening in their world this week? Like we're talking right now a lot about, and a lot of our clients are talking about schools being closed, right? Because there's this collective experience that parents are having and kids are having. And I don't think I've spoken to a parent in the last 2 weeks where we haven't talked about school. So, just thinking about what their experience might be, not generalizing, but like just think about their experience and then zero in on something where you can relate, and don't say, I get it, I can totally relate to that. Just show them. Don't tell them. Just write an email that is genuine, like you're writing to a friend. Keep it under 500 words. Bold out the things that you really, really want them to see. Add a PS for your call to action if you want to. And have some kind of an action in each email. This is more for the back end side. We want to see how many of your subscribers are engaging with your content. So we want to put in a link like, check out this Instagram post I posted, or check out this article I read, or I did this blog post, or here's a recipe. Just something really low commitment that helps us be able to track who's actually engaging with these emails. Because then when it does come time to sell and we are in a launch phase and we're promoting, we can see like who's actually clicking on these emails. And maybe those people get a couple extra promotional emails because we're going to nurture them a little bit more to get them into the program.
Okay, that's cool. So I guess moving from more of that nurture phase that you kind of been talking about and into more selling, how do you keep that, I don't know what the right word would be, like sleaze free? How does it feel authentic and not so salesy while you're still selling?
Yeah, the big thing is be honest. Don't make claims that you can't hold up to. Please, please, I beg of you, do not tell people that you have limited spots if you don't have limited spots. Be authentic, be empathic, just really like ethical selling. This is so important. People can see right through the doors are closing. Because here's what happens. I've seen it 1,000 times. I did it myself when I was a nutritionist. I would say, scarcity tactics. We only have 10 spots. Come now, we've already filled 7. We didn't fill 7. We're putting this out there. You only have until Friday to get in. Once Friday happens, once the doors are closed, they're closed and we're not opening them for another 6 months, and all of this stuff. And you budgeted for 10 people, but you got 3. And now you're stuck because now you can't reopen your offer because that makes you look sleazy. Right. So just be honest. Say, the doors are open. We're here. You can register. We're starting on the 22nd. So you're going to want to be in by then. But if you don't, that's okay. There will be another opportunity. Not sure when. Just be honest. Be honest. We always put in an email in our promotional sequences for our clients the day after the cart closes. If we do have a cart close, you don't have to. If you don't want to have a cart close, you don't have to. But we always put an email in the day after the promotional sequence to say, okay, so you didn't get in this time. No problem. Here are some other ways that you can work with us. And if you want to get on the wait list for the next round of this program, let us know. We also love to do in promotional sequences a specific opt-out. So, for example, you might have at the beginning of your promotional emails, we're going to be talking about offer X for the next week. If you don't want to hear about offer X, but still want to receive our emails, click here. And then we can set up a tag in your email marketing service that then tags them, and we can exclude them from sending any more emails with the promotion. So that's going to prevent people from unsubscribing from your entire list, which happens during a launch. People unsubscribe from your list. But it's going to allow people to say, like, I like what you do. I'm not going to buy this thing, but I like what you do. And so just like providing those ethical solutions where you can really be genuine, don't put up fake testimonials. So many people are putting up fake testimonials. Just keep it real, you know?
Mm-hmm.
If it's a beta program, call it a beta program. If you don't have proof of concept, please call it a beta program. That's okay. People love a beta program because you're going to get a deal and it's still going to be great. And then use that beta program to get some feedback and make your program better. But yeah, don't charge $15,000 for a program that you have no proof of concept. Yeah, I'm a little impassioned about this stuff.
I personally, I love that tip about the specific opt-out. I've never heard that as a concept before. And I love that. Personally, I'm a bit of a minimalist in all areas of my life, and I protect my inbox like nothing else. I subscribe to almost nothing, and I feel like that is such a respectful way to handle marketing. That's definitely something that I'm going to implement, because I would personally love it if more people had that option. I would probably stay subscribed to more lists if my inbox ceases being respected in that way.
Absolutely. And again, just think about the value, right? Like, if you kind of think of like a 10-to-1 ratio of value to selling, right? You want to be giving, and then selling, right? So because you're building up your cachet to be able to have the permission to sell. And by the time you get there, people know, like, they're fine with that. Versus like the brands who send, you buy, I bought this shampoo the other day, and I am getting email after email after email after email from this company. I'm like, nothing you're sending me is of value. I bought this bottle of shampoo that's supposed to last me like 6 months. I don't need to hear from you anymore. And every email is selling. If they had sent me an email that said, here's how to get the most out of this shampoo, here's the best hair care routine to go with this shampoo, here's how to get, here's how to deal with winter frizz or whatever, I would be much more likely to open those emails. But today I unsubscribed.
Yeah.
Now there's not enough value. It's all selling.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Those are all of the questions that I had prepared for you that I wanted to ask. So we've got a bunch of people on the call. I want to open it up. If anyone has any questions, feel free to put them into that Q&A section. While we're waiting for any of those questions to come through, Katie, can you tell everyone where they can find you if they want to learn more, and any details? I know you had a bit of an offer that you wanted to share with our group. So are you able to share a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So we are on Instagram at TalkingTreeCom, 2 M's. I'll be honest, we don't do a lot of our own marketing. We are too busy doing it for everybody else. So it's a good problem, but yeah, you'll see our Instagram is mostly, we're hiring because we've been trying to grow the team and just scale to the demand. Great problem. So TalkingTreeCom, 2 M's on Instagram. Best way to get in touch is to DM me. We have a website, talkingtreecommunications.com. There is a lead magnet, which I should have pulled up before we got on here, but I will do that right now. We have a lead magnet that is specifically for nutritionists. It's called 20 copy swaps to boost your clinical authority on Instagram. So this is all about, it's made specifically for nutritionists. It's a do this, not that, do this instead guide to just swapping out some copy to make you look like to make you look like the authority that you are on your Instagram. The offer that we had talked about was a quarterly content calendar. We just rolled this out on Black Friday for the first time, and it went over really, really well. So basically, this is where we will plan out your content for you for 3 months of social posts, emails, calls to action, story prompts, and reels. So we plan it all out. We're not writing it all for you. We can, but in this offer we don't. But basically, you get a grid that has your next 3 months. It includes all your promotions and everything that you have coming up. And yeah, so we're offering that for $500 for this group, $500 for the quarter. And that price will definitely be going up as we start to play with this more. But in general, if you have a lead generation project that you would like to do, or a launch project, or email marketing, or social media, if you have a course coming up, anything like that, we do all of that. We're currently booked until May. So whatever you have coming up, please let me know soon if you want our help. We do the copy, the design, the implementation, we handle it all for you. But yes, we're in demand right now, and we're building our capacity so that we don't have to tell people to wait that long. But yes, would love to help anybody out.
Amazing. Someone had asked for your information. I just put it up in the chat here. The information about how to contact Katie, for everyone who's watching, we will include that in the post with the replay as well. So you'll see all of the details of the offer for that quarterly program, and the email and the Instagram and all of the ways to get into touch. So that will definitely be up with the replay to refer to. But for right now, up in the chat, I put her website there, and then from there, they can find your Instagram and other things if they prefer to contact you.
I just put the lead magnet in the or I call it a lead magnet, that's what we've been talking about, but we're supposed to call it a freebie on the outside.
So that's there as well. I'm just taking a peek to see if there's any other questions. Otherwise, I had one question from inside our group. I'm just going to switch over my screen so I can pull that up. So it was Manira had posted a question. She asked if anyone has any good resources on how to develop a low barrier offer. She said she's especially looking for info around how women want to absorb such offers. For example, a download, a self-paced program, group work, or so on. Are you able to speak to that at all?
Yeah, something that I really like to do is for nutritionists is to have tiered offers. So having your one-on-one program be like your top tier offer, your main offer being a group. So a group with a study component. So you've created a guide, you've made, you've made all your content available for them, but you're going to also show up once a week and have a hot seat coaching, or you're going to have some kind of a group experience where you maybe have other people come in. Same offer can be lowered down to a self-study. The reason I like this is because we can mostly promote the group. We can mostly do, promote the benefits of the group and the camaraderie of the group, and we like accountability of a group. If people want more one-on-one experience, then you say, that's okay. We have this, you can come up here. Our price is going to be triple because you are really good at what you do, and your time one-on-one is worth a lot more, and you're going to create custom programs for them, and that's going to be worth a lot more. The group program is going to be not customized probably. And then the self-study is 0 of your time. This is an evergreen offer that people can buy anytime. It doesn't typically sell great. Your group is going to sell the best, but
especially these days, since people are like so desperate for connection.
Yeah, absolutely. Groups are going. I just joined my first mastermind. I joined a marketing agency mastermind, and I've been in it for 2 weeks, and it's just been completely transformative to have that group experience. So your one-on-one, your group, really promote your group, and then when people don't buy the group, that's when you give them the self-study, and that's your low barrier to entry. So as a pricing model, you might have something like, let's say this is an 8-week course, you might have something along the lines of $3,000 for your one-on-one, $1,500 for your group, maybe $250 to $500 for your self-study. And then below that would be your low ticket, your freebie. Right. So you might have something in the middle, like a like a $49 3-month meal plan or something like that, where there's no customization at all, the little bite-sized offer. But mostly the most bang for your buck is going to be create some awesome content for a group, level it up with one-on-one, level it down with self-study.
Awesome. Sabine has put a couple of questions into the chat here, so I'm just going to read those off for you. She says, I have a love-hate relationship with social media, which is mostly hate. She's also very minimalistic and tries not to do too much. She said she doesn't want to hear from people 2 to 3 times a day or even 2 to 3 times a week. It's just too much. So 2 questions. How does she stay authentic to herself, but still show up for the people that want it? And if you have any advice on that. And then there's a second question. I'll hold that thought for the moment.
Yeah.
So how to stay authentic?
I mean, the first thing is, if you hate it, don't do it, because we can tell if you hate it. And that's not going to be a good way for you to show up for people. I am never on Instagram stories. I don't necessarily, there's a couple people that I want to hear from a lot in my inbox. I hold their emails until I can sit down and enjoy them. My goal is to write those emails, right? That's my whole plan is, I want someone to be sitting down with a cup of tea on a Saturday morning and be like, I get to read these emails. So how can you show up for the people that want it? I would say, first of all, ask your people how they want to receive your information, right? I think email always comes back to being the most effective, because people can choose when they see it. There's not a 24-hour disappearing thing. I don't know about you, but when I'm watching Instagram stories and I see the same 10 people or 10 accounts, and then if I don't finish watching Instagram story, that person's just gone.
Yeah, disappears.
It makes me, yeah. On email, we can choose. We have a lot more agency with our own email. And the best part about email is that people have consented to hear from you, right? On social media, people are showing up on Instagram. Think about how you show up on Instagram. You show up to be entertained, to have some connection, to maybe laugh at something, not necessarily to be sold to, right? And we know, yes, Instagram has ads. It's a free app, and so we consent to having some ads. That's part of the deal. But we don't consent to our content creators and our connections where we are going to learn and be entertained and to connect. We don't want to be sold to. And this is that whole consent to sell. So when someone signs up for your lead magnet, you have consent to sell to them. So show up in their inbox once a week, show up as often as it feels good for you, and be authentic and make it worth their while, respect their time. And yeah, write the emails that they really want to look for. I'll give another tip here. We always do resends of our nurture email. So when we send an email, let's say on Tuesday or Wednesday, and then by Friday or Saturday, anybody who hasn't opened that email is going to be resent the email with a different subject line. That increases your readership by at least 20%. It's wild. So doing that resend gives people another opportunity. And I love to do a weekday and a weekend send, because it gives people the opportunity to be like, oh, I did want to hear from them. I accidentally marked that read. And then they open the email and they're gonna be able to connect with you then. Yeah, I hope that kind of answers the question.
Yeah, I think so. And that little tip about the resends as well, I'm guilty of that. There are those few people that I do want to hear from, but a lot of emails come out on Tuesdays. So sometimes on Tuesdays, I don't have a chance to get through them all. And then the week gets busy. So that little extra kick in the pants on a Saturday morning is good to remind me of what I had wanted to read earlier. Yeah. Sabine's second question, she said, is regarding Instagram. How important do you think stories are? She finds them annoying and has a hard time convincing herself that she needs to do them.
Yeah, I get that. Like I said, I'm very, very rarely on stories. Now, it depends. So the nature of your brand, if you're a coach, I would say you need to show up. You need to show your face on there. And if you're not comfortable doing Instagram stories, then record YouTube videos, do them this way instead of this way. And put those videos into your email. Embed them. Don't make them quick, just embed them into your email. Or do Instagram, do a reel. A reel is going to be the most bang for your buck on Instagram, which I hate to admit as a copywriter. But people need to see your face, right? So what I was saying before about looking people in the eye, as a coach, you need to differentiate yourself from other coaches and other health practitioners. So it is important that we see your face and that we see your face moving. It does help to make that connection. Personally, I don't show up on Instagram very much because we're an agency. When I do show up, it is going to be in the context of like advocating for women-owned businesses, mom-owned businesses, kind of that collective experience that we're in right now. But generally speaking, like when I had my nutrition business, I Instagrammed every meal, which by the way was a huge relief. When I closed down the nutrition practice, I wasn't expecting this, but to be able to eat and not think about content was a really big deal. So set time where you are taking photos of your food, but please don't feel like you have to share every meal and every cooking process and every justification of every bite you eat on Instagram, because that's actually not as helpful to your audience as you showing up and saying, here's where I'm at today, 2 to 3 slides. It doesn't have to be a whole big thing. Just showing up, saying hi, letting people know that you're around, that you're alive, and just kind of maybe ask them a question, right? Use those Instagram stickers like the polls or the sliders or the question boxes to just engage other people. So it's not just you talking at them, you're actually inviting them in.
Having those boundaries ahead of time, like talking to yourself about what am I going to do on these platforms, having a plan like the 3 months that you said you're mapping out for people. Personally, I find that really helpful because social media is huge. Email marketing is huge. It could never end, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have to do what feels right to us. So it's so important, I think, to just plan it in advance, decide what's right for you, what's not right for you. If sharing every single meal is not going to work for your lifestyle, then like you said before, just don't do it, because I think we all want to love what we do. So if we're forcing ourselves to do these things, then that's not ideal either.
Yeah, and I also I've talked to so many health professionals who feel like they can't show up and be real on Instagram because their real life is messy. Well, look, there's a certain degree where we have to have a marketing poise, right? And we don't want to hire someone who is constantly telling us how stressed out they are and can't handle their lives, and you feel like you're then adding to their plate by hiring them, right? So you want to be careful of that, but being able to share what you're going through or share what your day has been like, and in a way that helps you connect with people, rather than say like, you're kind of complaining about the work you have or whatever it is, right? We don't want to burden our audience. But yeah, just be real, show up as who you are and don't fake it. There are so many practitioners out there who are faking it so hard. And I know what their life is like behind the scenes when I see their Instagram stories. I'm like, why are you putting this pressure on yourself? Like, it's not necessary.
Sabine's come in with one more awesome question. She's asking, do you have a recommendation for an email marketing platform if you're doing all of this on your own?
Yeah, Convertkit. If you're doing it on your own, Convertkit is awesome. We recommend Convertkit and ActiveCampaign. If you're not super techy, if that intimidates you, I don't recommend ActiveCampaign. Really great if you have a marketing team and you are, or even like a VA who's techie, that can look at the analytics and really get the information from there. Flowdesk is really popular right now. It's cheap.
I have seen a lot of that recently.
Yeah, it's cheap and it's really pretty. From a marketing perspective, I don't love it because you can't track anything. There's no tagging. It's just not as functional as we want it to be. I have in my service agreements that we will not work with MailChimp.
Interesting. Are you able to share why?
Well, there's a few reasons. First of all, MailChimp deliverability is very low compared to other platforms, because you can do a whole mailing list for free. And if you can do it for free, it can get spammy. So things coming off of the MailChimp server often get pushed down the list. They also charge for every little thing. Like, it gets really expensive to be able to do what you can do really basically on Convertkit. I find their sequences and automations are really clunky, and it's not customizable. It's just a mess. So our number one is ActiveCampaign for when we're handling your marketing. But personally, I use Convertkit, and I love working on Convertkit. It's super straightforward, does what you want it to do. You can tag till the cows come home. You can do your sequences and all of your automations through there. The emails are pretty. You can make them pretty. It's not as customizable visually as something like Flowdesk, but it's pretty good. So yeah, I would say if you're doing it on your own, I would go Convertkit. And don't worry about making your emails beautiful. Like, honestly, your deliverability goes way up if your emails are just plain text. Write like you're writing to a friend.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. They're asking, can you spell it Convertkit? I'm just gonna throw that up in here. All right, while I am responding here, Convertkit, I think I got that right. It's all one word, right?
Yeah. And the pricing's good. It's like $29 a month or something like that.
Okay. Very nice. Yeah, it's definitely cheaper than MailChimp. I have been lamenting MailChimp recently myself and thinking about where to move to next, because it has gotten incredibly pricey for very basic stuff. All right, I don't see any other questions coming through. This was wonderful, Katie. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing all of your knowledge with everybody. For those of you who are watching here or on the replay, you can remember that you can get a hold of Katie at Talking Tree Communications. She's on Instagram, or she's got her website, and we'll put that information for her freebie in with the replay post that we'll do as well. So thank you again, Katie.
Thanks for having me. Thank you so much, everybody.
All right, have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.